when you factor by grouping, you always want to do it when you have 4 terms, okay? So, for example, let's write down this problem, number 1. So we have 7x cubed minus 4x squared plus 56x minus 32. So is there a greatest common factor of all 4 terms? No, there's not, right? Of all 4. So then, since there are 4 terms, then we want to group the first 2 terms together and the last 2 terms together. And then we will factor out the greatest common factor in each of the groups. So in this first group, 7x cubed and 4x squared, what's the greatest common factor? X squared, which leaves us with a 7x minus 4. And then in the next group, 56x and 32, what's the greatest common factor? 8. 8. And since this is plus, then I want to write a plus 8. And then we have 7x minus 4 left. Okay? Because we're factoring it out. We're factoring 8 out of this group, right? So then we put 8 times this group of 7x minus 4. Right? Now, since these match, which is step number 3, since those match, look, we have x squared is multiplying to this 7x minus 4. 8 is multiplying to 7x minus 4. So then we can group these two in the same group, since they're multiplying the same quantity, okay? If it's not, that means you want to try to switch 2 terms, and if it still doesn't match, it means you cannot factor it. Okay? Question? Yes, and we'll do one like that, okay, in a minute. Okay, so now let's group the x squared plus 8. Those are the 2 factors we factor out of each group, times our matching factor of 7x minus 4. And it's not squared because they're just multiplying this quantity the one time. So that's why we group them together. And that's it. It is easy, trust me. Okay, let's do another one. So 42x cubed plus 36x squared plus 7x plus 6. I'm not going to do non-factorable. And if I do, then I will let you know, okay? But I really don't think I will. Okay, Mariah? All right, so let's see. Since we can't factor anything out of all 4 terms, right? They do not have a common factor. So then we group these, the first 2 and the last 2. So what is the greatest common factor of 42x cubed and 36x squared? 6x squared. What's left over? 7x plus 6 is left over. Brendan, focus. And since this is plus, then I want to write down a plus. And 7x and 6 do not have a common factor, but so then we always want to put plus 1 or minus 1, whatever it is. So 1 times the 7x plus 6. Then these match, which is exactly what we want to happen. If it doesn't, like I said, you need to rearrange your terms. And if that doesn't work, then you cannot factor it. Okay? But most of the time it works. What? Just like you could just switch these 2 terms right here. Just switch them. Yep. But yeah, but most of the time they'll be in the correct order. But if you have to switch them, usually you can see which ones will have a common factor. Okay? All right, let's see. Then our final answer is, our 6x squared plus 1 times our matching factor of 7x plus 6. Questions so far? Okay, let's do one more, and this one is on our assignment too. Let me, question. Yeah, it's like when you factor out a negative. You need to do the same process. What? Yeah. Okay, go ahead and factor this one on your own. You should group the first two terms and the last two terms. Okay, did all of you group these two like this, right? First group, what goes into 16 and 128? Did you guys find out? I wonder if you... No, hold on. So 16 actually goes into 128 how many times? 8, so then you'll have x plus 8 left. And then, since this is minus, you want to write a minus, and what goes into 40x and 320? 40, right? And then you'll have x plus 8 left because this negative 320 divided by the negative 40 we're factoring out is a positive 8, right? So then they match. So then we can group what together? What do we group together? 16x squared minus 40 times the x plus 8. Now, there's an issue here, though. Does anybody see an issue? Yours is right. Yours is right somehow. Just watch. Can I factor this factor some more? Yes, because it has a common factor of what? What goes into 16 and 40? 8. So then when you factor out the 8, you'll have 2x squared minus 5 times the x plus 8. And then you cannot factor that anymore. If this was a difference of squares, could we factor it again? Yes, if it was a difference of 2 squares, but it's not. Okay? Now, Summer, I have to give you kudos, and I don't know if anyone else did what you did. Did anyone else see that all of these have a common factor? Who? Oh, Vanessa and Mariah, did you guys do the same thing? Okay. Kudos to you girls, okay? Yeah, because I saw Summer, and I didn't get around to you guys, but she saw that they had a common factor of 8. So she factored an 8, and you guys factored an 8 out of everything. So that's where 2x cubed plus whatever, okay? So then she factored by grouping after that, which she got this, and then she just had the 8 out in front. So either way, you should, in my opinion, factor out the greatest common factor at the first of the problem every single time, okay? But because sometimes kids don't see that you can factor this some more, okay? So that's why if you get in the habit of looking at everything and see if they have a common factor first, that is always your best bet. Do you want to do one like that, where you can factor something out of all of them? Okay, all right, let's do it then. Grab a yellow paper that I just passed out. This answer right here is number 8 on your assignment. So go ahead and just write the answer. You don't have to write down the work since we already did the work. Okay, so number 5 on your assignment is 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus 2x minus 4. So what you should do when you factor anything at all, okay, you always want to see if you can factor something out of everything. And we can factor out a 2, right? So if we factor out a 2, we'll have 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus x minus 2. Okay? Now, last hour when I worked this problem out, it really frustrated some of the students because we have an extra set of parentheses there. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this problem below, forgetting the 2 for just a minute. Okay? But I'm going to circle it because I know in my final answer I have to have a 2 out in front. Okay? So I'm just going to rewrite as if this was the problem, just to kind of show you, and that way all the parentheses won't confuse you. Okay, so now we group the first 2 terms, the last 2 terms. What can we factor out of the first group? A 2x squared. Okay, and when we factor 2x squared, we'll have x minus 2 left over. Yes, because these do not have a common factor but 1, so we're going to put x minus 2. You okay? Okay. All right. Questions right so far?
Wait. Right.
Plus 1. I do write the plus 1 because that way when we group them together, you remember to write plus 1.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. So I have my 2x squared plus 1. I group these 2 together times our matching factors of x minus 2. And don't forget the 2 at the very beginning. Okay? Okay, questions on this problem? Any questions? Okay, what do you want to do? Number 6? Okay, let's have everyone start number 6 on your own, please.